Hi everyone, alongside Mike Trossel, I'm Dave Giancola. Thanks for joining us once again for another US Open Classic finish. This one is an all-timer. The year is 1991. The course, Hazeltine National, and it saw 1987 champion Scott Simpson and the legendary Payne Stewart tied through 54 holes, leading the rest of the field by 4 strokes.
Yeah, Dave, some real drama here. Stewart took the outright lead with a birdie on number 3, but Simpson regained the lead with a birdie on 7. Simpson could taste his second U.S. Open title, taking a 2-stroke lead to the 16th tee, which is where we pick up the action right now.
And here we are. Look down on Hazeltine from the Goodyear blimp. Look down on 16 as it goes along the shores of the lake. Water on the right, creek on the left, hit across the water on the tee shot, trees on the right, deep rough right and left. Jack Nicklaus birdied this hole twice in 4 attempts. Tell us about it, Jack.
Well, Jim, it's today it's an iron shot. It's probably a 1 or 2 iron for most of the fellas, and they want to keep it. If they hit it in the right side of the fairway, they want to keep it back so they can play over the tree. If they hit it left, they don't want to reach the water hazard. Payne's hit an iron. Perfect.
Nothing wrong with that. Scott Simpson hit first. In 3 earlier rounds, he's had a bogey, a par, and a bogey. Simpson, as you see.
You're the man, Scotty! Sit down! Get out!
Uh-oh. So, on this hole, it's advantage Stewart.
Now, from that position there, I don't think Scott will play for the green, even if he has a lie to play for the green. I think he should play it short, 50, 60 yards. Take a chance and try to make his par with a chip, chip and a putt.
This was Fred Couples trying for birdie at 17. Good putt, too. He'll stay at 2 under going to the final hole with a championship win under the lead. Here he is on the 18th tee now. Now he's in 4th place, 1 stroke behind Larry Nelson, and quite a bit of money involved. 3rd place is better than $72,000. 4th place is $52,000. $20,000. This one, of course, is mostly for glory and what comes after. They have all sorts of rewards.
Playing a 3-wood off the tee.
Even without the strong wind, it still plays long today.
If there isn't anything that plays real long for Fred.
Yeah, well, you had hit what, a 1 iron on your second shot?
I hit a driver as hard as I could hit it in a 1 iron. He's playing a little 3-wood for position.
Fred.
There it is. Okay, well, we've got Fred established there for the moment. Look at that crowd around the greens up there. But 16 is where the real action is at the moment. It's going to be. So let's go to Rossi out there.
Well, he has a terrible lie. He has a lie that, as Jack said, I don't think he's going to shoot it at the green. I think he will do exactly as Jack Nicklaus said and play up short. This isn't even a teaser lie that I can see.
Well, Rossi, even if he had a good lie, I don't think he should play the shot from that distance to the green. I think he should be laying it up. He's got a 2-shot lead. He should make, even if he makes 5, so he's still got a lead.
I agree with you, Jack. 160 yards from the hole.
Scott's been in this position before. He has the patience to play this kind of a situation, and I think he'll probably do it well.
Payne Stewart, meanwhile, in the middle of the fairway.
Payne is 130 yards in just the perfect spot.
See, what you don't, the other thing, the other side of the coin is, if he lays it out, now Payne's thinking, oh, here, I've got to make birdie. Now I can make birdie, I can get back to even. Well, and he does have that opportunity because he has played the perfect tee shot. But even that you're trying to play for the birdie, you still have to be careful, because if you throw it in there, you've got the chance of the lake and the chance of leaving yourself in a position that you don't want to play from.
If you put it in the lake, See you around. Brand new hole. You haven't been with us all the way. Sketched out by Robert Brent Jones, who originally designed this course.
Does not have a wedge, though, Jack. He's playing out with either an 8 or a 9 iron.
Kelly may be trying to put it up just short. Let's see what happens, Russell.
Shot straight left on him.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. That was a mistake.
Looks like you were right, Jack.
Well, I think he left himself. Now he's got a pitch which you can't see from television angle, but he's pitching over a knob, the green going away from him, and he's going to have an awfully difficult time just getting the next shot on the green.
Meanwhile, Payne Stewart with his perfect approach to the 16th green. Well, yesterday, this was where the swing of one stroke came. Bogey by Simpson. Scott Simpson has just hit his third shot on the par 4 hole, and this was it. Uh-oh. Well, Jack and Dave, that's a long way from the hole.
Yeah, but he got it on the green, even and he's got two things to think about here. He's got the ball up against the fringe, and he's going downhill.
On 18, the second shot of Fred Couples. We're told this was, Jack, a 4-iron.
Well, he just sort of cut it in softly, Jim. It was only 214 yards.
From an uphill line.
And Jack Nicklaus hit a 1-iron. Look at this.
Oh, that's a wonderful shot. What a wonderful advantage that is to be able to do that. I had that advantage when I was younger, and Fred has that advantage. There's a lot of fellas that have that advantage, David. He has it probably more so than most people.
That's why they call him Boom Boom.
Sounds like a go-go dancer. Boom,
Yes,
boom,
it does.
Couples.
Look, on the right is how they stand for the day. Of course, you see Simpson's 2 under for the day. Payne Stewart flat even, but maybe that won't stay that way very long.
I think Scott would obviously be very, very happy to get out of here with 5.
Yeah. Should there be a playoff, it's 18 holes tomorrow in the U.S. Open.
Get in the cup.
Well, a little something left there. Almost harder for the wife to stay in.
Cheryl's having a little trouble about this time, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now this is the hole where yesterday Payne Stewart made the putt of the tournament. He needed this for a par at the time. And there it went, 50-footer, they said.
You want to buy real estate from that man, because that is more like 75 feet.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah. Now, today's Minnesota Viking outfit. Look over. Birdie opportunity here. Should he make this, he'll go to 7 under. Scott Simpson already lies 4. Nope, no break.
Knew the putt was going to slide right, but he just sort of pulled it, trying to keep it on line. So easy to do.
However, he still has the opportunity to gain 1 stroke here and trail by 1 with 2 holes to play. Let's see what happens.
Scott's got a little work left.
Saying that depends on what Scott Simpson does. All right, the bogey time. For Scott Simpson. Had a work there all the way to the wall.
He did that one the hard way.
Sure. Couples, remember, he hit that monumental 4-iron to the green on this long par 4, had this putt for a birdie to move into a tie with Larry Nelson for 3rd, and so he did. Fred Couples with a 200 par round of 70 today, to add to 70, 70, and 75 in the previous one. Both in their middle 30s, in the prime of their careers, and in the cauldron of their careers at the moment. 1 shot between them. Simpson leading Stewart by 1. 2 holes to play. A par 3 and a par 4. The gallery grows and grows.
What we've got here at 17 today, Jim, is 172 yards. A little wind from right to left. Just a nice 6-iron for both of these fellas as they'll try to hold it. The area where the pin in is not very large. It's relatively small, and there's a slope that goes away to the left. So if you decide to play to the center of the green or a little bit to the left of the hole and trying to play 8 or 10 feet, you're going to end up 30 to 35 feet. If you try to get it into the pin, you leave yourself with the danger of missing it on the right and having a fairly awkward chip. So even though it's playing shorter than it normally does, it's probably the most difficult of the pin placements to get it close.
Again, when they came to 16 yesterday, Simpson was 8 under, Stewart was 6 under. Simpson bogeyed 16 to go to 7 under. It's the same situation, same strokes, under par today.
Work ball. Oh, yeah!
That was a gutsy shot right there. He had to hold that ball left to right and make sure he looked the right distance. That was really a nice shot.
So you can see he parred this whole opening day and has bogeyed it twice since.
Payne plays more left to right than Scott. Scott's a little bit more right to left, so this is a little harder shot for Scott than it was for Payne.
Simpson and Stewart. 4 for Simpson over Fred Couples and Larry Nelson. Then Fuzzy Zoeller, who shot 67 today. Nelson shot 68. Couples shot 70. Scott Hoch there at 1 under. He's not finished yet. Nolan Henke at even par. Those are the leaders. Now let's go over to Roger Twibell.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. Fred Couples, you look like you did some work out there today, Fred.
It was definitely a struggle. You know, I felt comfortable today for a change. I have gotten nervous before, but today, obviously, Payne and Scott were far enough ahead that I needed to go. And I hit it in the water an 8 after being 2 under. And then I got unlucky on 10, but finished with a good birdie in 18 to finish a good tournament.
Yeah, well, we were all marveling. Just a basic little 3-wood 4-iron into this hole.
Well, you know, I lived and died with that 3-wood off the tee. And, you know, if I can keep the ball in play, I've got a chance of playing well. And obviously, the shot Payne just hit, you know, he is playing fantastic. And they're lapping the field, really. 4 strokes is a lot. And it looks like maybe a playoff the way they're playing.
You said you felt comfortable today for a change. In final rounds of major championships like at the PGA last summer, did you find the nerve factor a little too much?
Actually, you know, to make a long story short, I was 4 under, and then I missed a little putt, and then I kind of get the feeling like I'm never going to make one. And that's not a very good attitude to take. But, you know, it's something that sometimes I hit the ball very well and putt poorly, and other times I walk around and putt, you know, like a madman. But today and this week, I did have a lot of fun. I just tried to, you know, make myself relax and just go hit the ball. And I really like the course. That helps, too. It's a fantastic layout. Helped me out quite a bit just hitting the ball in play.
Okay, well, nice playing, Freddie.
All right,
Good luck
Roger,
the rest
thanks.
of the year.
Well, thanks for having me in here.
Okay. Jim?
Okay, Fred Couples with his best U.S. Open finish, tie for 3rd.
You know, Jim, we had a very interesting situation here. We really, I think if you look at the last hole and Scott felt a little bit of pressure on him doing a certain thing. Now all of a sudden we get to this hole, and this is where the element of match play comes in. Payne has put a good shot in there. Scott really didn't need to put that shot in there as close as he did, and it forced him to make a mistake. Now he's left himself a more difficult shot than he would normally ever have. If Scott Simpson were not playing with Payne Stewart, he would hit the ball to the left of the pin in the center of the green and be putting for a birdie, but he didn't. Now we've got a little bit of, he's got a little problem here.
Sure do. Let's see what happens.
Get it!
Good shot.
Payne, even though his putt's relatively short, he has got one very, very quick putt.
Fairly fast, eh?
Very fast.
Well, he's had birdie opportunities really on 15 and 16, both difficult but makeable putts. Now he's got another.
Well, he's been unfortunate that he's been on the wrong side of the cup a couple times, and he's on the wrong side of the cup again to be able to take a run at it. Although I'm sure he will.
Should there be a playoff, ABC Sports will be on the air at 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. Remember, only the U.S. Open now has an 18-hole playoff on Monday.
Which way does this go, Jim?
Shouldn't be a whole lot of break in. It might slip a tad to his right.
Nope. That's what he thought.
Yeah, didn't go.
3 in a row. Birdie opportunities, as Jack said, difficult birdie opportunities each time. Couldn't make one of the 3.
Well, when you get a putt like that, and as fast as these greens are, you really can't put a positive stroke on it. You've just got to hit it and let it roll, and that's, you know, you're sort of almost to the mercy of the green. If it's, look like it's starting to break right there, and then looks at it, it goes back to the left.
Look about a game of inches.
Huh.
That's the picture, all right. Brothers hit Saddisworth Golf. They're still away.
Isn't it funny how Scott Simpson has been the rock-solid golfer all day? Now Payne Stewart's the rock-solid golfer coming down the stretch. Change of events.
Yep. All right. We'll go to the final hole with a one-shot lead. Chance to win his second U.S. Open championship. Look at the crowd swarming there down at the bottom of the picture. There's already a huge number of people up around the 18th fairway and green. There it is. A trophy that someone will take home for a year as the U.S. Open champion. Take a moment to walk up there. Maybe you can look at some of the highlights of Scott Simpson's round. There was 4, Dave.
This is for the par. It's a par 3, and he'd been in the bunker over on the right side. Played over, missed the green, but look at this.
Dead, solid, perfect, as they say. Now the par 5, the 7th hole.
Drove in the rough to the right, played out to here.
Just trying to pick out for you some of the shots that in the end may have made the difference. He made the birdie at 7. Second shot down the hill at 10.
Beautiful shot there.
Just kept coming in and in towards the hole. And the putt. For a birdie. And now, here they come. Not many of those people are going to be able to get a very good look at them, unless they're very tall. Because the ropes are already lined, as you can see, 5 and 6 deep. This is the hardest hole today on the average 4.5 strokes. In other words, you're just as likely to make a 5 here as a 4. There have only been 3 birdies. Fuzzy Zeller made a real big luck here.
Payne's got driver.
Yesterday, he hit 2 drivers here. Remember, Jack?
And hit it beautifully.
Yeah.
If anything, is behind the players now, Jack. It's a very strange phenomenon that's happened out here, but they're driving a little downwind.
Yeah, you can see by the flag here at 18 it's coming a little downwind, and he drove that ball a long way, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Well, normally I think behind the players on 18 is the prevailing wind here, isn't it? Except that this week it's been different.
Yeah, it's been northwest the last couple of days. Now it's sort of coming back around to southwest, which is prevailing.
Yep. Here's the leader. So the leader's in trouble. The pursuer is in the middle of the fairway. And we're on the final hole of the U.S. Open. Or are we? It looks peaceful enough from the Goodyear blimp overhead. A pastoral scene on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. There it is. Goodyear Blimp America on its Blimp Tour 91. It's good to have them with us. There, the gallery gathered around. Simpson will be hitting Fred Rossi. What kind of a lie is that?
It's no good. Very, very bad lie. It's going to be a tough shot to get the ball in the fairway if he decides to try and put it up about 100 yards short of the green. His ball is just engulfed by the grass, and the fairway slopes sharply to the right in that area. So he's just going to have to take a wedge try and get it in the cut stuff so that he can play a third shot.
And how far is he from the green all told?
Well, it really doesn't make any difference.
No, I understand that.
He's about 215 yards.
Okay, so that's why. Yeah.
So that part of the rough right there is the lushest part of the whole area because it's where all the drainage has been.
Spoken like a good golf course architect, Jack. You know.
And throw it right at the pin. Then all you say, well, do I want to do that? Am I going to make a mistake?
It won't hurt me at all.
And then Scott can still knock the ball up there, you know, with a short iron and get the ball somewhere around the hole. Still have his chance for par. Payne makes a mistake and goes for 5, and all of a sudden, you know, the tournament's over. So I'd say I'd be looking at playing the shot Payne had out to the right of the hole, not straight, not well right of the hole, but I'd be looking at, you know, 15, 20 feet to the right of the hole. Give myself a good chance for birdie, put the pressure back on Scott.
Payne is 157 yards to the front edge, 186 yards to the hole.
Oh shit, we're due to make a putt. Wake up.
We'll tell you some scores as they walk up. We'd also remind you once again, should there be a playoff, it'll start on ABC at 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. It's an 18-hole playoff in the U.S. Open. The Masters these days is such that the British Open is a 4-hole playoff. Peter Wyring's a good round today. There's Tom Watson. He's better all the time. He shot 70 here. Yep. Billy Ray Brown, another pretty good U.S. Open after last year's fine show. There we go. Pike. Now let's get back out to this final action this day. Scott Simpson, his third shot on the ball, leads by 1.
Shot of 120 yards.
summertime fun to me. The U.S. Open on a beautiful day, the final hole, and such excitement, and such admiration for
These two
the men
guys
who are playing.
These two guys are not thinking about a lot of excitement right now. They're thinking about which one of them has a chance to make a putt. And Payne Stewart has got a putt that's going to go a little bit more right to left than it probably looks. It breaks fairly quickly, and that's going to be an advantage to Scott Simpson. Scott's putt looks like it should break left when you stand down there. I have the same exact putt that Scott had today, and it looks like it should be about the right edge of the hole, but the ball actually goes right. And Scott will see that in Payne's putt, and you know, if he picks it up, then Scott will putt his putt differently. So you've got a little, you better be watching what's going on here, these two guys. I know they're going to, obviously, but Scott's going to want to watch Payne's ball around the cup. That'll help him.
That's why he's walking around that side of the hole.
Yeah, he's going to take a little look over here, and he's going to say, I'm going to watch this.
Only one person figured out this putt. Say it breaks more to the left.
Larry Nelson.
But, yeah. And he's the only one that kept it.
There it is. Remember, Simpson lies 3. For what they are.
Good for Scott Simpson or bad for Scott Simpson?
Why do you say that?
Well, all of a sudden he sees Payne's got a 5-footer and he's thinking about he may have one to make it. Now all of a sudden he's saying, well, Payne may not make his next one. How aggressive do I want to be? I know that I had this putt and I slipped it by the hole 6 feet. From that exactly, because it gets over that knob and it just travels. Travels a little bit to the right and just keeps on going. Let's see what he like it goes left and doesn't.
It's not been his strong suit the last few holes, although as Jack Nicklaus pointed out, all of his birdie opportunities were very tricky and difficult. But he did miss them at 15, 16, 17.
I think he watched Scott on this one though. I think he's pretty collected here.
Payne Stewart. He has assured at least a playoff tomorrow with an even par round of 72 after 67, 70, and 73. But Scott Simpson still has to make his putt for a bogey 5.
And that is a quick breaking putt, Jeff. You saw Payne's break quickly. You saw Larry Nelson's break quickly. Even though it's short, it's not an easy putt.
And just as happened yesterday, to this point, Scott Simpson has lost 2 strokes in the last 3 holes. championship. Both of them are happy to have gotten them the way they did, I think. Payne for coming from behind, and Scott for making that last tricky pass. Scott. What do you think of that?
Pretty good going.
Well, it's only right that these two champions couldn't decide this one in regulation, and it was Stewart that took a one-stroke advantage to the 14th tee of the playoff, which is where things started to really intensify, and that's where we rejoin the action.
About time you start to perspire a little more about now.
He's been hitting the fairways. He's done it all week.
Yeah.
Roger, this ball has caught the rough, and it's going to make for a very difficult second shot because the hole is cut just some 7 paces over the right-hand bunker.
Okay, Judy, thank you. Now Scott Simpson. Also with an iron.
Birdie time.
Good swing, Scott.
And Scott Simpson down the middle. See what Judy mentioned, that pin cut 7 paces over the bunker at 14, 17 paces back from the front. Stewart leads by 1 through 13 holes in this 91st United States Open playoff. Payne Stewart looking over his second shot at the par 4 14th.
A reasonable lie in the rough. He's 125 yards from the hole, coming straight downwind. I don't think he can afford to shoot the ball at the flag. I think he's going to have to try and land it on the left front of the green and let it run up about 25 or 30 feet to the left of the hole.
Big bounce.
Well, this ball's not going to make it to the green. Some 10 yards short.
Now he really has a tough shot left.
Well, he tried to do that, though, Bob. He was trying to play it short, let it bounce in, and it didn't.
Just didn't hit it hard enough. Very hard to judge coming out of this high rough, as everybody knows.
Rossi, how far did he have there?
He had 125.
He had that beryllium wedge out.
That's a fairly weak wedge,
yeah,
Roger. And of course, there's quite a bit of wind behind. The ball just didn't fly like he thought it would.
Yeah.
Scott is 113 yards from the hole. Has the kind of a lie that I think you'll see him throw it right at the flag with a wedge.
But very fortunate to be on the green right there.
Well, it just shows you how hard that is, and going downwind, you don't get near. That kind of pin position, you're better off against the wind than you are with the wind.
And that just shows you 357-yard par 4. That is all the hole that these two guys can handle.
That's all the hole anyone can handle. It's a good golf hole.
Tom Watson had a good comment. He said all golf course architects ought to come and take a look at this course before they build the next one. And talk about architects. Look at this swing of Scott Simpson. See how this was built, David?
Well, you ought to take a good look at this one. Very simple golf swing Scott has. He gets the club back just perfect there. Watch that left heel through the ball, the extension through the ball. And when you finish with the weight on your left side, he plays very square, Roger. By that, I mean he doesn't line up for a left to right or a right to left. He's a very straight player. Always has good balance, good tempo, I watch the bottom part. Watch his legs work here. Not quite as much as Payne Stewart does, but left knee behind it, and then he moves right back through it there. Great, great footwork, always on balance.
He's got such strong legs, David.
He does. Well, he does a lot of exercise in Hawaii. I mean, with playing with his kids, with the boating and stuff that he does. But that is a very simple golf swing and a good one to try to copy, as a matter of fact.
Scott Simpson. And now, third shot for Payne Stewart.
I think you're going to see Payne try and play a low skipping shot in here and land it right on the front edge of the green, let it skip into the bank, and then trickle back down. I don't think he can carry it up on top.
Bob, does that bunker get in the way at all?
Well, not really, but he has to worry about it, though.
There on the shortcut of the green. So that putt for Payne Stewart is for par. The one Scott Simpson has is for birdie. Stewart leads by 1. We're at the 14th hole of this 18-hole playoff. Since 1940, 15 playoffs have been contested at 18 holes. The highest winning score was 74 last year. Hale Irwin, Mike Donald, and of course Irwin on the 19th hole with the birdie putt. Now, what about Scott Simpson's putt?
Well, he's putting back up against the hill. This will not be exceptionally fast. It's actually sort of a level putt, but even the putts uphill are really fast.
David, is this where the match play maybe comes in?
No.
I mean, no?
No. There's not going to be any match play here until they get to 17T. Because it is stroke play, they've still got 16 to play. You might make anything at 16 if you hit a bad shot.
But you know Payne's going to lose one. I just wondered if maybe he would not be quite as aggressive with this.
We don't know that he's going to lose one.
Well, that's true.
Oh. We know he's going to lose at least one now.
That we know. That's a birdie for Scott Simpson. His third birdie today. Well, the question, was he going to be aggressive?
Yes.
The answer.
Glad the hole got in the way is the answer. Doesn't show a lot of emotion.
Now, Payne Stewart, this for par. And this would keep it even.
You know, what does he do?
Yeah.
What you do is make sure you don't make more than 5 for sure. You try to hit as good a putt as you can.
What about this putt, Bob?
Well, same kind. It's putting back up against the hill. Almost the same kind of putt that Scott had.
I'll tell you this, he's made more par putts at this distance than he has birdie putts in this championship.
In the hole.
So that putt for 5 and a 2-shot swing here at this 357-yard par 4.
Be the second 2-shot swing too.
Yeah.
Picked up 2 at the 5th hole when he birdied. Payne made a bogey. That's why you can't think match play at this point. I mean, you can lose, you know, especially on an open course. Bogeys, double bogeys jump up very fast, and he's, you know, still working hard here just to lose the 2 shots on this hole.
Hit his drive in the left rough. Maybe catch a flyer or something. Used to look like a sand wedge of some kind, some sort of lofted wedge, and came up short on a second shot.
Bet you he wishes he'd have played that with a pitching wedge rather than a sand iron to make sure it ran.
Now this putt for bogey. two-shot swing, and they go to 15. Simpson leads Payne Stewart by 1.
Come on, Scott, get him. Go, go.
15, 590-yard par 5.
Very strong par 5, Roger, and it's really a very narrow drive down to the bunkers and left side on play there. And to the right, you've got the woods, plus out of bounds over there. A lot of players are iron off of this tee or a 3-wood. Then you play down. You try to stay left of this bunker you see on the right side of your screen, leaving yourself somewhere, depending on how far you get or how close you get to that bunker, anywhere from 150 to 100-yard shot in here.
There's a look at the green and the pin cut at 15. 24 paces back, 5 in from the left-hand side. 72 birdies. You see that there have been no eagles at this par 5.
Well, it's a hole, too. At 590, just the only couple of guys I heard about with a chance to reach this hole.
Didn't make the cut.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, yonder to Scott Simpson on the tee.
Interesting, that last hole was the second two-stroke swing of the day.
Yeah.
Hey!
1 iron.
It's way to the left.
It's well in the left rough, but it shouldn't really present him too big a problem with a layup second shot on the par 5.
Judy, short of that bunker?
Yes, Roger.
That was a 1 iron by Scott Simpson. We saw big hitters like Fred Couples and such the last few days. David use, an iron off the tee there.
Well, when you find out you can't reach it, then the important thing is to get on in 3 and have yourself an opportunity to make a birdie.
Payne Stewart. Also with an iron. And perfect drive for Payne Stewart, and long with that 1 iron. Well, 34-year-old Payne Stewart, 35-year-old Scott Simpson. They both have won a major apiece. And we'll return with more golf action after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome you back here to Hazeltine National. 15th hole, 590-yard par 5. Both of these players with 1 irons off the tee. Stewart down the middle. That was the tee shot there of Scott Simpson, which has found that trampled down area of the rough. Now, they did top this rough off today, didn't they, David?
They did. They cut it back to the original 5 inches. First time they've had a chance to cut it since Wednesday's practice round.
And there's a look down to the green. You can see the wind really starting to blow here.
He has a kind of a lie, Roger, that you could dive for. I mean, when you hit it over there, you don't expect to get this kind of lie. It's just like playing a ball off a par 3 tee. It's trampled down. It's very firm. And he has to hit a low shot anyway, so just everything goes together.
Back more, please. Up on top past the trees there.
I would think he'd take a 4 or 5 iron and hit a hard, low hook.
Left of the tree.
Up short of that right-hand bunker. The hole is cut to the left today, so the more you keep it right, the better off you are. But anything in the fairway, of course, will be all right.
It's almost, Rossi, if you're going to miss it in an open, it's almost better to miss it real bad than just barely missing it a little bit. 5
more yards.
Well, the fact that they had so much rain earlier in the week and then they had such tremendous crowds, Roger, the ground is really packed down over there. And it was in a kind of a depression where it was wet at one time.
Bob, can he see the fairway where he's trying to land, or is he shooting a little blind there?
He is shooting blind. He is taking his time. He's going up on top of the bunker. Look where he's going. Going to aim it out to the right and has to hook it about 10 or 15 yards. Not a hard shot.
Lie a little uphill?
It's pretty level lie, David. going right at that right-hand bunker. Just don't go too far. Went too far.
Yeah, it just
made
caught
it to the deep rough, Roger.
Okay. Yeah, we can see it set
Oh,
up
in the
now.
rough.
Thanks, Judy.
Make the track? More people have been up there.
I think you'll see Payne not fool around with that bunker at all. He can take an iron and carry it well over that bunker. It widens out over the bunker, so he has a big landing area.
How's the wind affecting him on this hole, Bob?
What's straight behind them, Roger? If there ever was a time that somebody could have knocked it on in two, I think that this was the day it could have happened, but I think they both played it smart.
Boy, that took a big bounce.
He may have hit it too far also. Now that lie doesn't look as good as the one that Scott has, and he's on the wrong side of the fairway.
Oh, we can see the ball.
Now, don't let that upper camera fool you. A lot of times you look down at that and it looks all right. Not the same player's view.
Well, the pin is cut back left, as David mentioned, so it's not a good angle. You've got to carry it over that bunker in front. And delicate shot there for Payne Stewart at this par 5. Payne won the PGA Championship a couple of years ago at Kemper Lakes. He's got 7 tour victories. Won the MCI Heritage and Byron Nelson back in 1990. And here's a look at one of the really gorgeous golf swings.
A little different. That is Payne Stewart, by the way. That's how he plays his practice rounds without the +4s on. A little different than the swing of Scott Simpson that we saw just a moment ago. This swing maybe a little more classical, a little more movement, especially in the lower part, his legs and everything. You can see his right foot drag through there as he makes a good move. Still very limber, but look how similar they'll be here. If you remember how Scott got his left knee behind it, then he moves back to his left side. Oh, a little spin out there, but a good move through. And Payne also plays very straight, not necessarily setting up for hooks or fades. Again, good golf swing. Always looks like he could play well for a long time.
Oh, Payne Stewart trailing Scott Simpson by 1. Well, we've talked a little bit about this today. We talked to Scott Simpson about whether he plays the course or does he play Payne Stewart.
Well, probably a little bit of both. You know, depending on how Payne does, I guess, you know, or how I do, it kind of affects our strategy somewhat. But you still have to play the course because, you know, with those last 3 holes, even if you're, you know, 2 or 3 shots back going into there, you still think you have a shot at it, you know, because you can make a birdie or 2, and obviously you can make some bogeys. So, you know, even if you're a little bit behind, you still have to keep hanging in there and keep going with it.
Now, Scott Simpson, 3rd shot.
145 yards. The lie is marginal. I don't think he can take it over the bunker. Stop it on the green up to the left. I think he's going to play it to the right. Try and land it on the front edge and let it run up pin high.
Well, as you heard Scott say, he kind of plays both, David. Payne was fairly adamant about just playing the golf course and not the opponent. Different perspective. It's just like a guy during a tournament who watches the leaderboard, and some guys don't watch it at all.
That's true, but just, you know, it's, after all, whatever you shoot there, there's no sense this close that you're match play or taking any chances. Still got a couple of dangerous holes ahead of you.
3rd shot for Scott Simpson at the par 5 15th.
Shot is hard too if he carries it too far. You see, he's got to go up a little hill there. You see, now right where that pin is, that's just over, and it starts to slope away from you a little bit.
Good bounce.
got a little bit too good of a bounce. This ball's going over the green. David, you're absolutely right. Just right where the hole is cut, the green begins to run away from the player, and with the downwind condition, you really have to land the ball, even if you were playing from the fairway on the front third of the green.
Payne has a shot of about 80 yards. And the closer you get to the green, the harder it is to spin the ball. It's almost impossible to spin it out of this rough anyway.
Bob, can you imagine what the scores might have been, really, if they'd had 4 days rather like this?
I think 295 would have won, David.
You think he'll shoot at the flag here?
No.
Third shot, Payne Stewart.
Didn't come out very good.
Well, it just bounced up on the edge of the green, and he was fortunate there, Rossi.
He had a terrible lie, and as I said, the closer you get to the green, the harder the shot is to play.
I think advantage Simpson, though. Even though he's not on the green, he's going back uphill. Payne's got a heck of a hard two-putt there.
Simpson leads Stewart by 1 shot. They're at the 15th, 590-yard par 5.
Payne's got a 60-footer here. Ball's going to go uphill for the first 2/3 of the putt. As it gets over the hill, it'll turn to his right and then be really fast coming down. Very, very hard putt to get close. Well, Simpson has a real easy chip. Scott's a wonderful chipper of the ball, and he's got a nice lie, kind of coming back up into the hill. Everything going for him.
Well, you see what he's done. Hasn't had a birdie in his last 29 holes.
From what I've seen today, too, Roger, he just really hasn't had the ball close to the hole to make any birdies. Hard to make it when you're chipping at him or you got 60-footers up over hills.
That will be for par for Payne Stewart.
And that is 15 feet by.
Well, two bad wedge shots there, or at least the second shot of Payne's got him where he didn't have much of a shot.
Now, Scott Simpson, his third stroke at this par 5. This is his fourth stroke at the par 5.
That is not very good, Roger. He'd like to have that one over again.
So he'll have that for his par, but a much shorter putt than Payne Stewart. And of course, the next hole will be the par 4 16th, which has been the most difficult golf hole here at Hazeltine National this week. And look at all those people. Why would all those folks go to one golf hole, David, huh? You think they know something?
I think there's going to be a public execution there or something.
That could be. I get the feeling something might happen at that 16th hole. Bob, are the greens such today? Are these fair greens, or are they too fast?
Well, I think that they're a little too fast, Roger. I think that 13 is a little tough, but there was nothing they could do about it. They didn't know they were going to get this kind of a day. It turned real hot also, along with the wind.
Now, Payne Stewart for par.
They're all big putts, Roger, but this would be a big one to put some pressure back on Scott.
So that's a bogey for Payne Stewart. Back-to-back bogeys at 14 and 15, and Scott Simpson now with this putt for par, which would give him a 2-stroke lead going to the 16th hole, where on Saturday he had a 2-shot lead over Payne Stewart. And on Saturday he bogeyed 16 and 17. They were even. On Sunday he had a 2-shot lead, bogeyed 16 and 18, and that's why we're here today.
Ball should move a little to his right. Good solid stroke.
2-shot lead for Scott Simpson as we go to 16.
A little bit hard driving too, Roger. There's no bunkering down there or anything to say what can you aim at. You aim at the big tree that you see. You don't aim to the water tower. That's too close to the right side of the fairway. Pick out one of those trees and just try to swing right toward it. Started a little left.
Should be perfect.
Good. Good shot. That is perfect. Left third of that fairway is ideal.
See what Payne Stewart's done. He's played these last 3 holes at even par in the previous 4 rounds. He's made a par at this hole every day.
Well, it stayed in the fairway, but he will have to throw his second shot up over the tree that overhangs the fairway on the right side.
We welcome you back to Hazeltine National Golf Club in Chaska, Minnesota, along with Judy Rankin, Bob Rosberg, Dave Marr. I'm Roger Twibell here. This 18-hole playoff between Scott Simpson and Payne Stewart. Simpson, the Open winner in 1987 at Olympic. Stewart, who won the PGA in '89. And this is the 16th hole, the most difficult of the 18 holes here at Hazeltine National. The pin cut all the way to the back. And Scott Simpson checking out his second shot.
He has 172 yards to the hole, 136 to the front edge, and the pin is 36 back. The hole is cut there.
Bob, what do you think he'll try to do? Do you think he'll try to get all the way back to where the pin is?
Well, the wind's coming out of the left, David. I would think he would try to put it a little short of the flag and to the left of the flag, leaving himself maybe 25 feet. I think he would settle for that. Wonderful shot.
think that's exactly what he needed to do, Roger. Not to put the lake in play at all. Just put it on the green. Make Payne have to take a chance.
Payne is 160 yards. Probably will take an 8-iron, throw it up over that tree. I don't think he can get there with a 9, although there's quite a bit of wind behind him. A little out of the left, but mostly behind.
Of course, as we look at our picture here, Bob, it looks like he's almost under that tree. How much room does he have between he and the hole?
He's 50 yards short of that tree, David.
All right.
So he'll have no problem getting it up over the tree.
Payne kind of indicated he didn't realize the ball would check up on him quite that much.
No, you don't when the greens are firm. He's played a number of hard greens in a row, 13, 14, 15. Of course, that one was from the fairway.
Huge gallery out here today. Very appreciative golf fans. I would say, David, you know, going back to last Monday, you're looking at 40,000 a day for 7 days, and then now today out here, whatever they have, you know, well in excess of 300,000 for the week.
Of course, he's got to try to hit a high shot here, talking about Payne Stewart. So he's aimed off to the left. You've got to go over the left. The wind is also left to right, so it's all going to help him move the ball back toward the pin. That's an 8-iron. Good long swing. You'll try to stay back a little more than usual to get the ball up in the air. Don't make quite as strong a forward move into it. Have your hands finish nice and high. If you want to hit a high shot, have your hands finish up high. Low shot, your hands finish low.
Simpson's putt is about 35 feet here, going up the hill a little, but almost level.
What about Payne's, Bob?
Payne has about 20 feet, David. He's coming at a little better angle than Scott. He's putting more up into the hill. He is definitely below the hole, and this is one of the few times anybody's been below the hole today.
Scott Simpson will have that left for his par. At 16, a hole he has bogeyed the last 2 days. And now Payne Stewart. 6-1 putts, 8-2 putts. That's what he's had so far today.
3 putt though at the last hole.
Right.
That was almost a cinch.
Yep.
3 putt.
Well, you think of Payne Stewart and you think of, he's a little on the flamboyant side just because of the way he dresses, maybe a little bit of a gambler. But he's been the steady man in the sense of making pars and such, whereas Scott Simpson has made some birdies. We have to go back to yesterday at the 3rd hole, par 5, for the last birdie that Payne Stewart had. He's 2 shots back. This putt for birdie to pull within 1 with 2 holes left to go.
almost a must make, Roger. Also very important if you could make it to get within a stroke and get to the honor on the par 3 17th.
Get the gun!
Drilled it.
Would you call that in the back of the cup, David?
Yes, sir, Reed. Oh.
16th hole's been very good to Payne Stewart. Now, Scott Simpson with this short putt for par to maintain a one-stroke advantage going to 17. Two-shot swing for the third time today.
This hole is playing 186 today, and there's one thing you cannot afford to do here, and that's knock it over the green. The pin is way back, hole cut right in the back of the green. Anything over the green is near impossible to get the ball anywhere near the hole.
Stewart's made 4 pars here at 17. Simpson 2 pars and 2 bogeys.
And to make that scenario just a little bit more difficult, the front of this green is kind of a bowl, and so the ridge that forms the back of that bowl is some 8, 9, 10 feet short of the hole here. It'd be tough to get the ball close.
It was a 220-yard walk from the green at 16 to the tee at 17, and got a feel that Payne Stewart might have just floated up that hill.
Drank a lot of water, though.
Yeah.
Say he's hopped up because he's got a 5-iron.
You the man!
That's 3 days in a row that Payne Stewart has hit wonderful tee shots at this par 3.
It's wonderful, Roger, but he's got a putt that he's got to be very, very careful with going down that hill. Give anything to be that far below the hole.
Scott has a 4-iron, excuse me, in his hand.
Birdie time!
Way left.
Oh, goodness.
Well, as I said, I sure didn't think that Blake was in play. Gosh, what a bad shot. What an awful time to hit that shot.
Yeah, David, you made a point about Payne getting the tee at 17. He's hit good tee shots there the last couple days. This has been a hole that Scott has had some problems with. And this is, once again, this tee shot here at 17 for Scott Simpson. The pin cut to the right. And his reaction after he hits the golf ball.
Birdie time!
Roger, and I can tell you, that's just like someone hit you right in the stomach when you look up and see that shot.
Scott Simpson, who played the par 4 16th and 4 over par for 5 rounds, you have to wonder, coming off 16 with the 2-shot swing, how that affected him, knowing that this par 3 has been a difficult hole, as has the 16th, and Payne Stewart with the honors, and putting, even though he does have a difficult putt, and we saw that same sort of putt yesterday, David, it's a very fast putt. The fact is that Payne was there. He was within 20 feet of the pin. And the resulting shot from Scott Simpson, which found that small pond. And this is what they're playing here for.
Playing for what every United States golfer practices and plays for and works for, and not too many win.
David, he has got to go to a place to play this next shot that is really something. It's up way to the left, up in the crowd. And it's going to be terrible. It's going to catch a terrible lie up there. Although if he drops it where he is standing, the ball is going to roll closer to the hole, so he may get to eventually place it.
Well, he somehow got to figure out a way to get up there and make a 4, make Payne make 3 at this hole.
Well, if he can make 4 here, he is a magician, David, because this is a hard, hard shot.
Well, you know what I'm saying. If he makes 5.
You got to move back some more.
Grant Spaeth, the president of the United States Golf Association, out there with Scott Simpson and Payne Stewart today.
Actually, a little level spot up there. The ball settled all right. So far as the lie is concerned, it's good.
Be the 3rd shot for Scott Simpson at this par 3.
Wonderful shot. Oh boy, that ball may not be stopped yet.
Well, every one of us who's ever played this game and has hit a ball in the water and had to take a drop and hit it over a short area like that, and you know how nervous you are just playing with friends, multiply it about 100,000 times. And you'll know how Scott Simpson might have felt. Once again, the tee shot here at 17 by Scott Simpson.
Well, to me, now remember, he pull hooked the ball there, and on this shot, it looked to me as if he may have been lined up a little bit more at the right-hand bunker. Now, he usually plays very straight. You remember I said that? His feet look a little to the right to me, and when you do that, if you're aimed too far to the right, you'll spin out. Now, a poor player will slice the ball with that sort of move. A good player like Scott, if you spin out there, he's way left there, and look where the ball starts. A good player will pull or hook the ball, and he knows as soon as he's in that position there that it is gone. And possibly with it, the U.S. Open. Maybe.
Now, Payne Stewart with this putt for birdie at 17. You said it was fast, David.
He knew it was fast. It just wasn't quite as fast as either one of us thought.
Now, Scott Simpson has this putt for bogey. And if he could run it in, it would make Payne Stewart's little downhiller that much more difficult.
This is a putt that's really fast, David.
why he's playing for the United States Open Championship.
Boy, that took a lot of nerve there. What a great, great forward.
Man, oh man.
A lesser player would just go ahead and make 5 and just give up.
Now, Payne Stewart with this for par and a 1-shot lead. They go to the 18th hole in the 18-hole playoff for the 91st United States Open Championship, and Payne Stewart leads Scott Simpson by 1. Welcome you back. There's the trophy for the winner of the United States Open Championship. And it lays waiting at 18 for either Payne Stewart or Scott Simpson. And David, we go back 1 year and remember that in the playoff between Hale Irwin and Mike Donald had a 1-shot lead at 18.
Well, so many things are running through their minds. I said, you know, Payne's won a major. Yes, he had won a tournament since last year. He's never won an Open. Scott has.
Yeah.
Lots of things can run through your mind here. You've got to keep your mind on what you need to do. Just drive that ball in the fairway.
Wind directly behind the players. Payne has an iron.
Be there, Payne.
That has found the fairway bunker to the right. Hole's playing so much different than it has the past couple of days.
You can knock it on the green out of that bunker, though, Roger, and that's the best angle to come from.
Now, Scott Simpson. If they would, perchance, be even after this 18, they would just move back to the first hole and go from there. Out of the bunker into the rough.
Scott's caught a pretty good lie, and I believe Payne has a very playable lie in the bunker.
Okay, Judy, thank you. So these two men, nerves a bit frayed, physically and mentally taxed at this moment as they come up 18. One will be the champion, and let's look back at past United States Open champions.
First four-time winner.
Only 16 men have won 2 or more Opens.
And that was one of them. John McDermott, first American born to win it.
Walter Hagen.
Last amateur to win, John Goodman.
And just think of all the great names in golf who you won't see come across this board.
One that stands out, of course, Sam Snead. Wonderful player, never did win the U.S. Open.
Jack
Jack won here. Yep.
Dale Irwin, the 3-time winner, and Jerry Pate.
The hairdos through the years.
Larry Nelson had a good tournament here this year.
So did Fuzz. That was a great win at Shinnecock there.
And Raymond finished strong here this year. And there's Scott Simpson, who won an Olympic in '87. Curtis didn't make the cut this year. And that's the question. Who will it be in 1991? As we move out to the second shot, 17, Payne Stewart. Excuse me, 18. I'm sorry, Bob.
Payne Stewart, 205 yards from the hole. Good lie in the bunker. Wind blowing very hard behind him. Slightly out of his left, but I don't think it's going to make much difference. But it's very hard behind him. I would think that he could get a 5 or 6 iron to the hole right now. I think 5 would be the logical shot.
And no problem with the bunker there, I mean, as far as lip or elevation is concerned, Bob?
No, if he hits the ball solidly, David, he has no problem with that lip.
Look back up to the green where the pin is cut. 37 paces back. 10 in from each side. 9,000 seats in the grandstands around 9 and 18. They are jammed, as is the fairway, at 18 and at 9.
Ever a time to be sure, it's right now.
Hit it very solidly.
Like he cut it just a little.
And it has come to rest in that intermediate cut of rough. Short and right of the pin here at 18. Now Scott Simpson.
Scott is 190 yards. Has a kind of a lie, Roger, that it's going to come out so hot that it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference what he hits it with. I think he could hit it with an 8-iron and bounce it right on the front edge and get it up to the hole, but he may take a 7. But the ball is really going to come out very, very hot. A lot of overspin on it.
Well, he has caught the rough behind the green at 18. David, it's an area that's been walked on quite a bit because there have been a number of people who have been back in that rough, and we can see the ball from our position. It seems to be sitting up, but there's a big tuft of grass right in front of it.
It just doesn't have much green to work with there either. Listen to these people, all of them standing, Roger.
Payne Stewart leads Scott Simpson by 1. Both have a lot of work yet to go at 18 as this enormous crowd is gathered about.
I think we've finally gotten where we wanted to be. We got, as you can see, super.
Stewart has made 4 pars at 18. Simpson a birdie, 2 pars and a bogey.
Payne Stewart has a chip of about 70 feet. Even though it's coming uphill, it's going to be very fast coming out of that rough. About halfway up, it'll tend to flatten out. He's not going to fool much with the line. It's the distance that he wants to worry about.
Payne Stewart will have that putt for par.
Scott's going to be hard pressed to land this ball on the green and be able to stop it out of this lie. Going to have a hard time getting the club underneath the ball.
Plus, it's a little downhill, which is going to throw it out low and a little hotter than you want anyhow.
That's right. Ideal shot, David, would be to pitch it onto that little fringe if he can land it there.
Bobby couldn't do it. He had to hit it hard enough to get it out of the line. It just carried over that first cut of fringe.
Carried over the fringe, David. The only chance he had was to play that shot.
God, what a good second shot he played, too. A little unlucky there.
Oh, we come down to this. Payne Stewart looking at a par putt. Scott Simpson has a par putt. Stewart with a 1-shot lead. And Simpson's away. So, Scott Simpson makes a bogey at 16, a bogey at 17, and a bogey at 18. And now Payne Stewart has a lot of comfort in this short putt. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Jack O'Hara. Today's telecast of the 18-hole playoff of the 91st U.S. Open was produced by Jack Graham, directed by Terry Jastro. Technical directors Werner Gunther and Gary Larkins. Associate producer Ben Harvey. Associate director Jaime Bravo. Technical operations managers Ed Delaney, Mike Farrell, Al Fong, Jim Lasetta, Mark Smith, and Mike Webb. Assistant producer Mitch Green, and our editorial advisor Frank Hannigan. Now, Payne Stewart, this putt for par. And the win in the 91st United States Open. Payne Stewart from Springfield, Missouri, who now makes his home in Orlando, Florida. Wife and his daughter.
Wife Tracy. A few months ago, he didn't know whether he'd ever be able to play again. He's off the tour for 10 weeks.
Let's go to Bob Rosberg. Okay, Bob.
Payne, a tremendous comeback on one of the hardest golf courses you've probably ever seen today.
Rossi, I don't know what to say. Pretty excited.
A little bigger than the first one even, huh, at the PGA?
Quite a bit, I think. Just the way that it was earned today, you know. I just kept on plugging and finally made a birdie out there on 16, and you know that helped quite a bit.
You hit some great shots yesterday coming down the stretch. You couldn't make one, and then today you finally made the one at 16. But you hit some wonderful shots aside from that.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm very excited, as you can tell.
May there be many more, Payne.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to Roger Twibell.
Okay, Bob. Thank you very much. Well, that's Cheryl Simpson, Scott's wife. So a former United States Open champion loses to Payne Stewart, who wins his 1991 United States Open, and an emotional victory in an 18-hole playoff. For all of us here at ABC, Bob Rosberg, Judy Rankin, David Marr, I'm Roger Twibell. Thanks for being with us.